Because you got a lot of people in your profession who waxed poetically for weeks and weeks about how Florida was going to be just like New York. Wait 2 weeks, Florida's going to be next. Just like Italy, wait 2 weeks. Well, hell, we're 8 weeks away from that, and it hasn't happened.
Yeah, and so let's talk about Governor DeSantis. And again, in many ways, he just hasn't seemed to taken this pandemic seriously from the very beginning.
State just reported its highest daily death toll so far, but we understand today the governor is still expected to announce plans to reopen.
That's right, Anthony. Governor Ron DeSantis has indicated that phase 1 of the state's reopening plan would be a, quote, small step.
The fact that DeSantis is doing this right now seems to indicate that he is going to, having been late to move towards social distancing, he's now going to be early to try to open up the state, and that this is a kind of leading indicator that he's going to try to reopen the state. Having just barely shut it down, he's now going to try to reopen it ahead of when would be safe.
Dr. David Dotson is an infectious disease doctor at Good Samaritan Hospital. He says COVID-19 cases are still rising. And on Tuesday, Florida recorded the most deaths in one day.
If there's a concern that we have to open up our economy and let people have their livelihoods, then we're going to have to accept that there will be more cases of coronavirus and possibly more death.
Well, obviously, we've got a lot of senior citizens who are dying in nursing homes. You can go to every county, and disproportionately the areas that are hit are the seniors. So we should be concerned about younger Floridians going out, seeing their parents and grandparents, and their grandparents getting sick or dying.
Outdoor spaces will begin to reopen in 2 of the state's largest and hardest hit counties with social distancing rules in place. But as you mentioned, with confirmed cases and deaths still rising here, some wonder whether it's too soon.
Our state is about 21.5 million people, so we're not where we need to be. We have not flattened the curve, and we have not achieved what the president's own task force says needs to happen before you reopen, which is a 14-day downward trajectory of cases.
Right now, Florida is competing with every other state. All of our hospitals are competing against each other. This is no way to stop a virus, to squeeze this virus down, to starve it.
Dr. Birx has talked multiple times about how Florida has the absolute best data. So any insinuation otherwise is just typical partisan narrative trying to be spun.
And the models were a disaster. The headlines that had us as the next New York or an Uber Italy, they predicted over 456,000 hospitalizations. If you can imagine what Florida would look like under those circumstances. But Governor DeSantis was steady. He did not react to those salacious headlines. What he did is he consulted with the experts. He worked with our Department of Health.
We've succeeded, and I think that people just don't want to recognize it because it challenges their narrative, it challenges their assumption, so they got to try to find a boogeyman. Maybe it's that there are black helicopters circling the Department of Health. If you believe that, I got a bridge in Brooklyn I'd like to sell you.